everyone. I'm Carlota Pico from the Content Mix, and I'm excited to be here today with Nushrinah Sadeer, who is Global Marketing Manager at NetApp and has over 6 years of experience in marketing and communications. Welcome, Nushrinah, and thank you so much for joining us today on the Content Mix.
Thank you, Carlota. It's nice to be here.
The pleasure is ours, Nushrinah. Okay, to get this interview started off, I'd like to ask you a little bit about your background. How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to take you back to a story that happened to me when I was younger. So I was at this time, I was in Paris, living there where I was born. And at 14 years old, basically, I joined something called Excite Camp that was driven by IBM. It was a program realized to, let's say, attract young girls into the IT industry. And then from that experience, I learned a lot, and I got attracted to follow a career in IT from that day. And then I moved to the UK when I was around 15, 16 years old. And then I started to study from high school to university. And then when I went to university, I studied international business with French at Kingston University. And then as part of my study, I decided to do a placement year. And funny as it is, it was with NetApp. So I was an intern NetApp. I was working for the channel marketing team, where I learned a lot around how to meet partner needs and demands. And I was working a bit on the communication side as an intern as well. It was really, really interesting. My focus was the MDF program, which stands for Market Development Funds. It was a fun year. It was really, really great to, do that internship, and has opened up so many things around my skill sets and, confidence as well. And then I graduated, got a first class honor, and I joined Solidifier, which was a startup company. And then, funny as it is, it got acquired by NetApp. So I feel like it was destiny in a bit. So I went back to NetApp, and from that day, I just stayed at NetApp until today. I had great exposure from being a marketing assistant to marketing manager and so on, working at the EMEA level, being exposed to the full marketing mix from, doing demand generation campaigns, social media, events, and so on. So I can give you a full list. It's really, really long. I managed to get so much, skill sets from there. And today, just recently in May, I got a new role, and now I'm covering worldwide. So EMEA, America, and APAC, which is a new step for me, a new challenge, which I totally embrace.
Okay, excellent. Well, what a beautiful full circle, right?
Yes.
And also, let me take this opportunity to give a shout out to our own intern who today has been hired for a full-time role. Mary, thank you for all your hard work. We really appreciate your work and what you've provided to our team, talking about interns, right? Who later become team members as well, full-time team members. Okay, excellent. Well, tell me a little bit about NetApp. What is NetApp? What's your 30-second pitch?
Yeah, sure. So NetApp is a data authority for hybrid cloud. It has been named a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the past few years for primary storage. NetApp provide hybrid cloud solutions and softwares to customers and partners worldwide.
Okay. Have you always wanted to work in technology, or did you just happen to land in it?
It's a good question. I was attracted to the IT industry, but I wasn't too sure I would land into, a career in IT. And at the end of the day, it did happen. So I'm kind of happy, to be honest with you. I wouldn't change it for the world at the moment. I really enjoy being in the IT industry.
Okay, excellent. I do want to talk about skills that you mentioned before, that you've acquired lots of skills along your journey, which makes me remind myself that skills are acquired, right? Skills can be trained for. You can educate yourself on different topics, and you can always learn something new every single day. But qualities, you're kind of born with qualities. They're part of your DNA, and they are who you are, and your different life experiences shape who you become, right? So let's say that you're promoted to global head of marketing director tomorrow and you have to hire somebody for your current role. What type of combination of skills and qualities would you look for in that new hire?
That's an excellent question. So I would really highly recommend someone that is open-minded and can embrace new challenges every day. I would say, as part of my role and for my career, one thing I think that was a key for me was to really, really embrace new challenges, being, really open to new projects, to new campaigns, trying to pilot new things. Also, one thing to consider as well, the reason why I'm meant to say to be open-minded is you have to work with a wide range of stakeholders from different cultural background in different countries and different languages. So it's really important that you can fit into this environment. I would also say it's important to have teamwork skills and project management. In many occasions, you will work on many campaigns, many projects with different stakeholders, whether it's from the sales perspective, technical perspective, marketing, and so on. So you need to be able to work within different level of stakeholders, from C-level exec to technical, for example, stakeholders. You also need to make sure you know how to target the right audience as well. So it's important to have this full concept of, working as a team and welcoming new ideas. I will also mention two more skills, and then I will start from there. I would say listening skills and problem solving. It's really, really important to listen to other teams and members. Problem solving skills is because in many occasions you will be asked to use your own initiative to find new solutions for problems you could find, within, the timeline of any campaigns. So it could be short-term or full-term, long-term solution, but you really need to be confident that whatever happens, you can provide a solution, whatever it could be.
Okay. Spinning off of that, do you have any marketing hacks for brands that are on a low budget?
Yeah, sure. I've been working on many projects where I had no budget. So I really had to think about how to use internal resources, whether it's existing, platforms, whether it's existing, solution that you have, to make sure you can virtualize what you're trying to sell to your customers or partners. And that way you kind of reduce your cost as well and make sure you can achieve your goal. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I do want to quote the CEO of Walt Disney. He said that the heart and soul of a company is creativity and innovation. End quote. In light of the global pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement, what marketing campaigns have you really admired lately and why?
Sure. So recently, I've been, one of my colleagues was talking about a campaign that happened in the US,
Mhm.
and it's by Send by Glade, who has teamed up with Walmart, actually. The full concept of Send by Glade is candles.
Mhm.
And with the pandemic situation, it's been very, very difficult for them to get customers to smell their products and buy, the candles. So what they have decided is when an online shopper will make an online, purchase for Walmart, they will receive a box, and basically, Glade is reusing the bubble wrap. So the bubble wrap will contain the scent inside. So when you open the box, you will have the bubble wrap, and then when you burst the bubble wrap, you will be able to scent this new scent. It's really clever and innovative because you don't have to go in a shop anymore. You just stay at home and have a personal experience around it. And it's amazing because then you can say, hey, I like it. And if you were to want to purchase it, well, the clever idea is on that bubble wrap at the back, they put a QR code. So you just have to scan with your phone and go ahead and make the purchase. So it's quite amazing. I found it really innovative. It's a great way to get, the customers to have a personal experience at home. And with the pandemic situation, it's a good, response to it. So I really liked it.
Yeah, no, I love it as well. I wasn't aware of it. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. it's a great campaign. I mean, it's so great on so many different levels. So on the one side, it's great because of the UX, although it's not a tech company, but like UX because it's really easy to buy the product, right? All you have to do is scan the code if you like the scent. And then two, because obviously it's impossible to smell anything through a screen. So they decided to adapt quickly to the global pandemic and used a product that will help its potential users to smell what the candle could smell like. So, I mean, it's very innovative and also quick to their toes. Hey, I mean, their marketing team has been very, very quick to come up with something like that.
I agree totally. I was really impressed about it. It's a shame we can't do it here.
Well, I mean, you never know. You could always just build a candle company.
True.
The world is full of opportunities and new experiences.
Nice.
Okay, Nushrinah, moving into my next question. When it comes to content, HubSpot's CEO said the following, start quote, "What separates good content from great content is a willingness to take risks and push the envelope," end quote. Taking it to a marketing level, what separates good marketing from great marketing?
In my opinion, good marketing is when you tick all the boxes and you meet the benchmark. And then you kind of stop and don't do more than that. Great marketing is about constantly be, innovating yourself and bringing fresh ideas all the time, piloting things, taking risk as well. So one concept I like to think as a marketer, actually, personally, wherever I do a project or a campaign, I like to take a Devops approach to it. And I know it sounds maybe funny, but I like the Devops approach of you create something, you develop it, you test it, and then if it works, then you repeat again. And I love this idea because it means that you constantly innovate, but you find new, ideas, and you don't stop from there. So there's always like a way to continuously improving yourself and improving your campaign, but also stand out from the crowd and the competition. So as a marketeer, I know, for example, when we do a campaign and is a success, we would like to replicate it as a best practice elsewhere. So for me, great marketing is to know how to be agile in the market and how to respond quickly to demands as well and grow very quickly as well.
Mm-hmm. And if it works, then do it again.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's a great way of reducing costs, right? Just replicating what has already worked and adapting it to other local markets and seeing if it works there as well, instead of like reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. From my approach, I think it's just you need to think about how you're gonna accomplish things faster, how you're gonna get to your end goal with something that's gonna work, instead of replicating something that's not gonna work or starting from scratch. Sometimes takes longer. Sometimes you don't have always the time, the resources, or the budget necessary. So you kind of need to think outside the box.
Yeah, no. So then that leads me to my next question. How do you prioritize your campaigns? I mean, what comes first?
So the way I like to prioritize my campaign is to really understand who is my target audience, who am I trying to attract, who am I trying to target, but also how am I going to attract them, online. So it could be I do a digital campaign and I want to know, hey, are they visiting my website? Are they downloading my web paper and so on? So based on, let's say, my target criteria, and who I'm trying to target, I will then set clear strategic goals and objectives and timeline, because I think it's important to know how long your campaign will last. And then after I've done this, I like to assess risk, cost, and resources. And the budget as well. For me, that's another key aspect I like to do. Then the third point I would say is to make sure you have realistic metrics that you can measure your success of your campaign. So you know what you're measuring against. Do you have a benchmark? Tagline where am I doing good? Am I doing bad? Do I need to improve on this or not? And then last but not least, one thing I've been recently looking into for my current role is how can I create a scoring model for my project. So I would like to be able to say, hey, you know what, if I have 10 different campaigns for this quarter, how do I know which one is the most important one? So we can set criteria such as, say, Criteria could be, hey, how much resources are we expending into it? Who's the target audience into it? Is it going to be beneficial for sales? Is it going to be beneficial for marketing? Is it a lead gen campaign or an awareness campaign, and so on? So I think having a scoring, model to, prioritize your campaigns could be one way to make sure you prioritize your list accordingly.
Okay, what about timing though? Because you mentioned timeline. So how long a campaign is going to be online for or offline, depending on where you're promoting it, on your distribution channels, of course. But what about timing? Because you're working across multiple markets and every market has a different time, right? So not only in terms of public holidays, but also in terms of time zones and everything that goes along with that. So what role does that play in your campaigns and in terms of prioritization?
Sure. I think timeline is very crucial in this context, just because you need to ensure that in the different markets it works differently. So, for example, sometimes you need to translate some of the content if you were to go in a market like, I don't know, Japan, for example. And I would say it really depends as well. So I would say in terms of timing, it's important to have a great collaboration with sales to understand if the campaign we're developing from a marketing perspective will meet their needs. That would be my approach to it.
Okay, excellent. So then moving into your advice and tips, although you've already given us fabulous tips, but I still want to pick your brain, obviously, on much more. I think you have much more to offer to our audience. So let's talk about marketers who are struggling to create engaging and valuable content. What advice, tips, or insights would you give them?
Good question. I think when it comes to content, it sometimes can be really tricky. So my advice would be to make sure your content is engaging, is interaction. You can lead some content to be interactive. So, for example, we'll have an interactive infographic, or having some, let's say, polls and surveys when you do a webinar or an event digitally. So making sure, at the same time as the customer or the prospect is learning or informing themselves about new things, they get to do at the same time interacting with your content, with your messaging, and that way they feel more like engaged with you, and they can build that customer experience, that personal experience with your brand as well, in some sort of way. The other thing I would recommend is to make sure you look at the tone of voice, you look at your target audience. So for instance, when you target a C-level exec versus a technical prospect, you have to use different languages and different keywords as well. So it's important to really look into how you use your content to approach your target audience, and you need to make sure you do it with the right approach, because if you send the wrong content, it could lead to the not the positive aspect of what you expect from your lead gen campaign, so you wouldn't get a response. So what you want to do is make sure you look into it deeper, and you touch on all the customer touch point if possible.
Okay, thank you. Let's finish up this interview with a practical example. Could you zoom into a project or a campaign that you're particularly proud of? Focus on its purpose and also on what made it stand out, please.
Sure. So I would like to take something I created a few years ago. Stopped counting on it, but so basically, I created the Devops Club. Let me give you some context into it. So one of the key challenges I was facing when I was a marketer at that time was I was trying to grow a presence in a DevOps world. But I was struggling because it was only myself and the developer advocates. I wasn't aware of who were the expert internally. So what I have decided is set up this campaign using my own initiative, and in that way, I managed to network, connect with a wide range of stakeholders such as sales rep, SE, technical expert, and so on. And it was a great way to be able to grow very quickly in the market. markets. So basically, I was leveraging the experts in the different countries, and this way we managed to, grow the presence of NetApp in Germany, France, and so on, using these guys without, having to necessarily start from scratch. They already had a conversation going with some key customers, so it was just like trying to build together a community and a robust team, so we can grow faster, innovate, and make sure we keep our presence in that target market we were trying to get into.
Okay, excellent. Talk about not reinventing the wheel and using what you have in order to target the right audience and expand into a new market. Excellent example.
Thank you.
Okay, Nushrinah, well, those were great insights. Thank you so much for joining us on the Content Mix. It was awesome to meet you and to learn about your experience.
Thank you.
And to everybody listening in today, thank you for joining us on the Content Mix. For more perspectives on the content marketing industry in Europe, check out the Content Mix. We'll be releasing interviews just like this one every week, so keep on tuning in. Thanks again. Have a fantastic day and see you next time. Bye.